It's finally upon us, guys. The release day of Project Ascension iteration of Classic Plus. You may have your own opinion whether it is true Classic Plus, whether it's not. It's something a little bit different. It's a different take on Classic Plus, and this is actually quite good because we've seen the previous versions of it with Total WoW, Epoch, and now Ascension is probably the more modern approach, but oh my god guys, I've been waiting for that for such a long time. Actually, my channel started to kick off when I started playing on the release of Season 9, which was the last fresh release of Ascension, and then we had to wait like almost 2 years to get something new and fresh from that team. But well mate, I have to say that the wait was really worth it. So I do have to admit that unfortunately I was a little bit late to the party because I still had to work for a little bit longer, and eventually I did show up at the servers after 7 p.m. of the European time. And unfortunately at that time, the Bronzebeard server was already full with a queue of almost 5,000 people. But on the other hand, I was also lucky as like hour before that, they actually pulled up another server, Malfurion, which I could log onto, and it only had like 150 people of queue in the queue, so I was in literally no time. The population massive, as you know. On Ascension, you cannot really check how many people exactly are playing the game at the moment, although Dutch did state that the server capacity is around 10k people, and over time they actually started to increase the capacity based on the performance, and I have to admit that the performance was actually great. This is probably the first thing we'll have to talk about today. Because, yeah, we do know that Ascension actually did pull off a massive release recently, which was the Project Epoch, because they literally saved it on the second release. And yeah, they did had some experience in that field pretty recently, which was good. And to top it all off, it was actually their own project this time, so they had more knowledge about the whole, you know, server and all the insights and stuff like that. So it was definitely a little bit easier to pull it off for them. I'm not quite sure what happened exactly on the Bronzebeard, based on the stream and the people that were on the stream. It did crash a couple of times, but on the Malfurion itself, I was playing for around 4 hours almost, and it actually crashed one time only, so not a big deal to be fair, considering how many people were actually trying to get in. We were also lucky, though, I mean the ones that were actually playing already, because there were also plenty of people just downloading the client, and there were also some problems with the download capacity because the speeds were so freaking low that yeah, they would have probably gone to sleep and try it out in the morning. But eventually everything was fixed, and now you can just download the live client and try it out yourself. I was even more excited about the release after my last video with the ultimate guide for Project Ascension, due to the fact that I did miss some points in that video due to the fact that they actually pulled off some special new additions right before the start, which consisted of an extra edition of the like second town revamp in the starting zones. So things like Gold Chair, Dolinar, Razor Hill, they all received a massive revamp. They actually look like really center of the race capitals rather than, you know, two building villages like a Gold Chair, for example, used to be. Some may say that it's a little bit too much, although yeah, that's why I'm actually excited to, you know, see new things and stuff like that. And I think that this is going into the correct direction. Because, you know, when new players actually come to the server, they will have to experience like the new revamped starting zone with new quests, new zone areas added and stuff like that. Then they go to the second village and they see the revamp once again. New quests, new hubs, new stuff overall in the zones, so, and they just get amazing first impressions, and usually the first impression is the most important one. So I actually feel that Ascension did a really good move in, you know, revamping those starting zones. Especially that, you know, in early levels you don't really see that much power spike from all of the other custom things added that you will discover along the way. So, you know, just having brand new content to check out initially is like very nice incentive to pull people in. Well, I have to admit that my own journey in the starting zone was really smooth. There were shitloads of people running around, which was good, very lively and bustling, although there was absolutely no problems with dynamic respawns. Mobs were constantly there. They even added a layering to the starting zones, but it was absolutely no need. You didn't have to wait for a mob for even a second. So that was great. It actually even became problematic when we got to this troll village quest and inside the cave, because the dynamic respawns were so fast. There were so many people over there that literally they were running around back and forth and you didn't know if you were in combat with them or not. So it was quite dangerous, especially that those mobs are really hard with like those initial quests. I'm playing a priest actually, and I had massive mana problems. Like I could get like 2 or 3 mobs down and then my mana was out completely. So it actually felt really classic like. And the mobs were hitting pretty hard. If you pull like 2 or even 3, then you were dead in seconds. So that was a pretty fun experience. But yeah, eventually we did get to the new starting zones for the dwarves and gnomes, and it was pretty funny. Although I felt that dynamic respawns didn't work perfectly back there, because yeah, some of those mobs were like literally camped over and they didn't respawn as fast as the other one. So I'm not quite sure which one was bugged, to be fair. Although yeah, that was a pretty cool quest line where we have to like look for a lost son of a mother. I mean, the mother asks us to look for the lost son, and it turns out that there is some crazy gnome village that are really toxic, like some people from Turtle.com to Ascension. But yeah, pretty cool stuff. We did have to kill some initial elites back there, but Ascension thankfully did make this option of tagging without the party. So if you hit a mob at least once, even without a party, then you will get the kill credit. It's a little bit different if you need loot from him, like, you know, quest item, because you do have to actually be in a party with a person that actually did tag the mob in the first place. So that was a little bit different, but yeah, for the simple kill credit, it's nice because, you know, I could just throw a Shadow Word Pain on a mob that is almost dead, and I could still get the kill credit in some of the quests, so it was really helpful initially. But all in all, we got through the very first initial zone, the Coldridge Valley, very smoothly, and in no time we're already running to the second zone. And I have to admit that I was a little surprised to actually see the cards from Epoch. I mean, I didn't expect that, and I haven't seen it coming, so that was a pretty good surprise. I mean, it now belongs to them, so why not take it, especially that's a very cool idea, as the mounts were actually changed, so you can learn it at level 6, so it may not be that mandatory as an Epoch, although it's a very nice addition, especially that they are actually faster than the mounts, so if you do get a chance to get onto one, then you will benefit from it for sure, especially if you need to traverse like the whole zone, so then it makes sense. When we finally get to the second town, we straight up notice some new stuff, like those keep out signs from a dwarf, some crazy dwarf that have a hut just outside of Karanos. Unfortunately, it didn't include any quests or anything like that, but it's a very nice addition and touch, just, you know, explore and see some new things. The Karanos revamp wasn't like super exciting, to be exact, like a couple of new buildings, some new quests, and a new tunnel where you have to kill some mobs and gather some items, so, you know, standard Classic Plus stuff. Although, just to be clear, it's always nice to see new content. It makes leveling smoother, it actually gets rid completely of the grinding from the Classic, because yeah, as you know, in Classic sometimes you were missing some of the quests, you know, just to finish off the zone or to get the next one, so any extras are really good to have. Eventually we also learned a novice riding, so the very first one that gives you 40% mounting speed. I feel that this is a nice touch. I mean, we've been traversing this world for so many years now that having that mount earlier is a very convenient way of traveling, especially that they added like new kind of riding that is a little bit slower than usual, so, you know, there's still like this progression that you get further. But coming back to the new things in Karanos, there was definitely one very cool quest about the lore. How did like the dwarves even find here? There was like a massive dwarf statue, and like a lore master was actually talking about their history, and that they are in war with the Trogs for so many years, but the biggest threat are the dwarves themselves, because, you know, the whole argument between the clans is still ongoing and it cannot be solved. So it was a very nice touch, you know, just to listen to some deeper lore of the dwarves. I bet that there are many things like that around the world. So, you know, just very cool stories to hear. I mean, we don't always have to have like kill X or gather Y type of quests. Such things like this one are can be really more exciting. So when we finally went away from town, you know, just to do some quests, we did found already one bugged quest, which was connected with that rumble shot ammo that you have to gather from one of the dwarven camp just outside of the town and deliver it to the rumble shot. Although the box was completely bugged, it couldn't open. I mean, it did open, but it was empty. There were plenty of people just spamming it. And, you know, I thought to myself that maybe after reset, the item will just, you know, respawn and everything will be fine. But then when the server crashed eventually, it didn't actually help out a bit. So, although when I did come back next day, like today, it was already fixed and fine. So probably just to look over, it's not like it's super scripted quest or anything. So it's nice to know that they fix such things in a blink of an eye. So eventually got to the Wendigo cave and started farming those, but there were so many people and they were actually really quite difficult. To top it all off, I still had my mana issues all the time, so killing 8 of them were quite a challenge, to be fair. A challenge that probably nobody would expect at this level, and I've seen the reactions of other players that they were really impressed on how challenging the leveling is, especially on those early levels. So I think it will actually leave a very good impression on all those new players and stuff. So more people will probably carry on playing, and ultimately I think that shitloads of people will turn Epoch for Bronzebeard, especially this early on. So it's nice because I still prefer Bronzebeard myself. So then we found out a pretty funny quest just outside Karanos as well. There was a like little Thunderbrute farm where you did have to pull out the herbs from the earth, which was a kind of new type of quest I've seen on Ascension. Never seen those before, where you actually have to interact with the object and like pull the vine to a point where it actually gets out from the earth. And it was kind of funny because there was a method to troll people, because you did have to like pull it away quite a bit to be able to get the quest credit, and you actually could click the item that somebody else was interacting with, and it would actually break it. They would be knocked down and you could pull it out yourself in that time. So you could just troll people and take their quest items like literally right before the moment they were able to pull it out. And I'm not gonna lie, I did do it a couple of times, but it was quite fun to troll some people. But yeah, just for the future, I feel like this quest should work in a way that where you actually start interacting with the item, nobody else should be able to click it. So if it is possible, Ascension, please do this. So eventually we did get a little bit further down into the Chilbris Valley in Dunmorrow, and we got to the cave where you actually have to steal supply from the elite monster. And it actually turned out that in that cave, there on top of the mountain, there is like an object where you can interact with, and it summons like a mini world boss. And it was actually really cool to see that, because you don't usually have such things. Like probably only classic boss on such a low level is like Hogger, for example. So it's nice that they actually took inspiration from that and added a boss in a place like this, and it actually didn't incentivize too many people to fight it. I was actually quite shocked. You know, I was a priest, I was ready to heal anybody who was willing to join, and many people just passed by, got hit once or twice, and then they just get away, because yeah, I have to admit that this guy was no joke. He could like literally 2 or 3 shot you if you were not prepared. He was a caster, and he also did like a freeze to everybody that is close by. So you could get caught by surprise, you know, get frozen and then shot with 2 Dustwind bolts. So pretty exciting. Eventually we did get a group, I think of 4 or 5 people, and we got him down, which was pretty cool. The rewards weren't really that crazy, just a pair of some green mail boots, but yeah, the fight overall was quite cool, and we got that achievement on top of that. You know, some new content is always nice to experience, especially in such early levels, so good job Ascension. Along the way there were also like some new quests. There was some troll lady that was looking for some amulet and stuff. We did have to kill more monsters in the caves, grind a little bit on the beasts and the gnomes, so the usual quests around this place. But yeah, like I said, there were some very nice touches here and there with some new content that was weaved in all that nostalgic and classic realm that we know so well. And I do have to admit that still on level 9, it wasn't really that easy to fight with the mobs, because yeah, I had still massive mana problems, but that we're about to end really soon with level 10 and getting the spirit tap. So yeah, I dinged finally level 10 while still grinding the mobs, and actually turned out that on level 10 we get our first reward for the Mystic enchantment system, which is very nice because yeah, level 10 is usually a very massive step in your character progression, so having that extra thing to add to one talent point is very cool thing. And yeah, as a priest I did get a spirit tap, and to top it all off, my Mystic Scrolls did offer me a glyph of Shadow Word Pain, where periodic damage of the Shadow Word Pain will restore 1% of my base mana. So nothing really that crazy, but you know, initially it will add up very nicely, and I think that overall for leveling this will be really good, so I did take it out without thinking too much. There were of course options for healer, like with a glyph of Power Word Shield and a glyph of Renew, but you know, I will be going for high risk PvP mainly, so I'm actually counting for my shadow powers to do that quite effectively, so I decided to just go the shadow route. And then it eventually turned out that those were very good additions. Even though I finished most of the quests already by that time, I did test it out a little bit, and yeah, it was like night and day. So I was really excited to finally get something even more powerful on level 15 when the rare slot becomes available. It's actually very nice that they give you this Mystic Enchants so early on your journey, because then you can, like, you know, get used to it very nicely. Then again, we finally got back to the Karanos, and I was ready to start doing my professions, as I decided to go tailoring and enchanting route, especially that wand seemed to be quite necessary still for the priest, even though the characters are supposed to be more powerful overall. So yeah, initially I went for tailoring. I had plenty of linen cloth stacked up my bags, and it actually turned out amazing, although there is a little strange thing I did notice, that every skill up I get would up my tailoring by 2 points, not by 1. This is kind of strange because, you know, they decreased all the XP gains up to blitz-like rates, and now they actually upped the professions to 2 per skill, so it's kind of anti-blitz-like. I'm not quite sure if this is a bug or not, but I did check it out like the next day, so today, and it's still like that. So I'm not quite sure if this is intended. Maybe they actually changed it along the way, just to, so you know, to make skilling up during the leveling a little bit easier, so you don't have to, you know, like backtrack and, I don't know, for example, you know, farm some light leathers or gather linen cloth just to be able to carry on with the profession. So maybe that's the approach. I haven't heard or seen any announcement about that, so if you do guys know about it, please let me know in the comment section below. But yeah, either way it was very fun, because I did level up pretty quickly, did get plenty of XP for it as well, and to top it all off, I got some very nice item upgrades thanks to that, with wand being one of those, of course, although I did have to go to the Iron Forge to be able to do that, because yeah, the local tradesmen didn't really have resources to be able to provide for me, so not everything is actually served on a plate in here. The cool thing was that during that profession leveling, I did get plenty of XP for skill ups, so that led me to level 11 when I turned in my next quest. And this is actually where the crash happened. But you know, it was just for a minute, the server restarted pretty fast and we were back on track really fast. So yeah, equipped with my newfound powers and equipment, I went further to level up, and we ended up fighting Vagash, the elite Yeti, in Dunmorog, and he was actually no joke. He had over 1000 health. As an level 11 elite, I did try out, you know, standard classic tactic when you take him down to the farm and then you kite him over the fence, but on Ascension, mobs can apparently jump over the fence and get you without that much problem, so yeah, that doesn't work. I did try that, but eventually I did find some, you know, priest brothers that were going after him as well, and we were able to take him down eventually, just to get some pretty good rewards. And on the opposite side of the road, we did find some new encampment added by Ascension, like another new area in this zone, and it turned out to be like some profession quest with the woodcutting. The woodcutting at the moment does not really have that many uses, although I heard that there is some new profession coming in that will allow you to make things from the wood, like, you know, staves, wands, pole arms and stuff like that, so yeah, that could be useful eventually. And some time ago there was some mention about a housing system, although to be fair, I wouldn't really be expecting it anytime soon. Like, you know, they probably focused on some other content rather than housing, so especially that Blizzard finally did release it as well, so it's not such a novelty anymore. Thus far, they maybe decided to, you know, postpone it or something like that. Well, either way, we also found like another elite quest in this area, but yeah, another elite was actually much easier than the previous ones. We jumped on it with like 4 people, and he was dead in literal seconds. The Icehide was his name, although his model was so freaking cool. But it was kind of strange for me. Like, this is like the brand new mob created by Ascension from scratch, and the Vagash on the other side of the road was actually quite a lot more powerful than this guy. Like, even the HP, he had like double the amount. I mean, Vagash had double the amount of HP of this guy, so I don't know why they differentiate those mobs so much. We literally almost one-shotted it once he actually showed up, so it was fast. And the rewards difference was also quite big, because for easier mob we got blue items that were really good upgrades, and even for, I think, male users or leather, I can't remember exactly this time around, there was like a helmet already, so it's quite early in Classic. As you remember, getting shoulders and helmet was actually a very big event on each of our adventures. So yeah, that was kind of strange, like, you know, but I guess this can be corrected. So yeah, ultimately I did do some more mine quests nearby, but there were no new things over there except for like a couple of the World Forge items, which we did gather quite a lot so far up to this point. They are very nice touch and addition to the server, and I love to actually go out and explore and look for some new stuff. A lot of those things were already found, and you can check out in the description that I will leave a link to the map with all the World Forged if you want to look for some specific ones, and the Mystic Enchantment Discord link as well, so you can go in there and look for the powers that you require the most. I do know that it kind of kills the incentive of exploring and getting new things, you know, by random and by accident. But, you know, if people already have it, then I don't see any point and reason to not share it with you guys, so then you can decide for yourself whether you want to use it or not. So overall, I feel that, you know, scaling is a great feature, and I did use it throughout this playthrough. But I did see many peoples that I was, you know, grouping up with, that the scaling was actually being turned off when I did party with them, so I would say that most people actually did play without scaling. But yeah, Ascension did give them a choice, and I think it's a good idea to do things like that, especially if you do have the methods to do so. Although, like I mentioned, I think that ultimately if people will try out the scaling, they will not really want to come back, because Ascension did it in a really good way, that you simply do not make the mobs go grey, so you can just finish off your quest without too much hustle and still getting some reward and XP for it. So yeah, it's massive. But yeah, if you did enjoy this video, consider liking and subscribing to check out more content in the future. I will be playing a lot of Bronzebeard in upcoming days, weeks, or even months. For the moment, I'm focusing to get to level 20 and start doing some high-risk PvP to show you guys how it looks and that it can be really good, so more people can try it out as well. I hope you guys did enjoy this video and your time on the launch as well. And yeah, regards, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.